Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Patreon-exclusive episode of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along from a long ways away with my brother from my mother, Sean.
How we doing?
Did I even say that to start the last podcast?
Say what?
The brother from my mother? Did I do it, or did I forget?
I don't know. I did the how we doing, so I assume you did the part leading up to it.
Okay, I guess I just started blacking out. Anyways, you know the whole rigmarole. We don't have to go through it here. Sorry this is going up later than normal. We usually try to put one up on the last Friday of every month, but just life obviously is crazy right now. We've been trying to figure out how to record remotely. If you saw episode 175 last week, not 176 that just went up a couple days ago, it didn't go so well. So we've just gone now to just doing Zoom meetings, and hopefully that will work well. So yeah, what we wanted to do this week, after all the news, hopefully news, but right now I will say rumors about what Nintendo is going to be doing the rest of this year with Mario and a potential collection or a compilation, as it were, if you will, with, what was it, Sean? Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. We thought it'd be a good time for a bonus episode to go back and kind of take a look at some of the best video game compilations ever made. So I don't really know how long this is going to go. If you haven't seen one of these before, they could go anywhere from, 20 minutes to an hour and a half. It just depends. So buckle up. We'll see how long this one goes. Sean,
Yes.
before we kick off here, I do want to give a shout out to, I don't think they should be included in this discussion, but I want to give a shout out to all the mini consoles. The NES Classic, the SNES Classic, the Genesis, the PlayStation 1 sucks, so don't shout that out. Maybe the TurboGrafx if it ever comes out, but those are awesome. I haven't used any of them as much as I thought I would. I really just like them because once I got one, I felt like I had to have them all. But I wanted to give a shout out to that. Also, I want to give a shout out to all those like Genesis like collection discs. There's been like 10 or 12 of them or something, like Sonic's Genesis collection, going back to like the PS2 days, I think. And there was one that came out all the way up, on PS4 last year or the year before. I can't remember when it was. So I just want to give a couple shout outs. Those are more like not really what I'm thinking for this, but I still want to give them a shout out. So Sean, why don't you kick us off with the most obvious answer, the granddaddy of them all? What is that?
Right. The obvious one is the GOAT, that being Midway Arcade Treasures.
Yes, thank you. I thought you were going to say Namco Museum.
Super Mario All-Stars. Also, maybe the first ever?
I would think.
At least the first well-known one. Like the first one of that kind of magnitude.
When did it come out? Do we know? Was that like
93?
93. Okay, because I don't think Doom even came out till 94, or was it 93? But then Doom 2 would have been the year after, and then Final Doom, which I think was a compilation. Actually, now that I'm saying that, maybe that should be on my list. Excuse me, because I never remember what the hell Final Doom was, if it was actually a real thing. Okay, it was a real thing. Released in 96, the game contains the same weapons, items, and monsters from Doom 2, Hell on Earth, and was released as officially. So it's kind of like, it's like Doom 2 plus. Okay, so it was not a compilation. Okay, so never mind. So no, it must have been the first. It must have been, unless there was some PC like a.
There's probably some weird, unknown arbitrary thing that maybe beat it, but at least our generation, when you talk about video game compilations, this is what you think of. You got Mario 3, possibly the best. You could make an argument that it is the best platformer of all time. I don't think it is. I think that's Mario World. But if you tell me it's 3, I can't argue it. You've got 1, which is just, it's the granddaddy of video games as we know them today, really. The Lost Levels, which is, it's something. And then, of course, one of the best games of all time, Mario 2.
check out Mario Mondays if you haven't. For my God, you should. And I don't mind telling you all this. You should see the amount of editing I have to do to get these down from like 40 minutes of shit down to. Well, I'm probably maybe we'll make this public one day. I shouldn't swear. 40 minutes of crap all the way down to like 18 minutes of gameplay. We die so many times. We use so many save states. That's how the sausage gets made. That game sucks.
Also,
Go ahead.
In addition to possibly being the first compilation, it's probably also the first we've gotten. It was the first time we've gotten something like an HD remake,
a remaster.
Yeah, like they again, Nintendo very much ahead of their time, but yeah, one of the best. I'll say. I mean, it's the best compilation of all time. I think it has to be.
I think it has to be.
Now, if the rumors are true with this 64 Sunshine and Galaxy, I mean, those are some heavy hitters there that definitely could give it a run for its money.
But I think I don't think it can be topped, because I think you're talking about, like you said, two of probably the top 10 games ever made, along with the one that started it all, and a game that was a mystery to, us over here in the West for so long until we finally got to play the Lost Levels. I don't think it can ever be topped. I really don't.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And I mean, Lost Levels, like I said, it's the most difficult platformer I think I've ever played. Mario 2 it's not that it's more difficult, it's just more frustrating because it's not even a Mario game. It's just not. It's Doki Doki Panic, and it's not fun. It sucks. I don't like it one bit. So now, if I were to say there was something that could come close to rivaling Mario All-Stars for the greatest compilation of all time, that would be the Metal Gear Solid HD collection.
Yeah.
So you got Metal Gear Solid 2, which I have come to adore it over the years. When it first came out, I hated it. It grew on me a lot, especially with the world we're in now. And we've been in for the last few years. Just he who controls the flow of information controls the world, and it's true. And Kojima predicted it back in 2001 when we were still pretty much in the early days of the internet. I'm not like the nascent days, but I mean, a lot of people were still on dial-up and stuff. I remember when I was in college then, and just having a broadband connection in the dorm was just like the coolest thing ever. I couldn't believe I was getting, like, I don't know, 10 megabits per second or something. I don't know what it was.
Not to mention, it was also so Brent, not to get too off topic here, but like Brent is the first person that I knew that I had access to that had, in New York, what I don't know if this is a New York thing or if this was everywhere, but we called it Roadrunner, and it was cable internet. And on top of just being super duper fast, just the fact that it was just always on. You no longer had to connect to the internet. Your computer is on the internet. And it was just so mind-boggling to me. And then we still had dial-up for probably 2 years after that.
Yeah. So it's Metal Gear Solid. I'm eating ice. Hold on. These are more laid back than the normal podcast.
Laid back.
With my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Metal Gear Solid 3, my still to this day favorite game of all time. Probably will never be topped. And then one of the most underrated Metal Gear games in Peace Walker, which, Sean, you played it for the first time when we did the So You Think You Can Dance challenge in year one of the podcast. I never played it portably. I didn't play it because I didn't have a PSP. I didn't play it till it came to the HD collection, and I remember playing that for the first time. I mean, when I first got the HD collection, I played through 3 again because it's my favorite game of all time. But then I think I played Peace Walker before I played 2. Because this was 2011. I can remember walking into Target, seeing it, and just being like, Jess, do you care if I get this? She's like, whatever. I don't care, whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't care, yeah. But then playing through Peace Walker and just being blown away, like, how did this game come out on the PSP? Of course, they up-res it and stuff for the PS3, but all the mechanics and the base building and everything that would play so much into Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, obviously, they were all born there, and that is such a huge game to be on the PSP and everything. Like, I love the hand-drawn cutscenes and everything. I love the story. It's very simple. And it's well done, and it shows when Big Boss kind of starts to go evil, and then everything kind of, they pick up in 5, and he's like, no, I'm not evil anymore. You just whatever. But yeah, what do you think? Did you have the HD collection? You must not have, because when we did
I borrowed it from you
Yeah,
to play
okay.
Peace Walker.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And then before I gave it back to you, I tried playing 3 again, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I got basically as far as, I think it's the first time you see Ocelot. I think it's just a cutscene, but there's like a building, and I don't even really remember, but I think it's like the first time you see Ocelot in the game, and I couldn't get past that part. There's like a lot of enemies that show up, and I'm just like, I can't play this game anymore.
All his soldiers show up. So it's after the boss throws you over the bridge and everything. It's after the opening. So you probably got about an hour into it. But yeah, the controls are not great. And that's why I've said, and I'll keep saying, we need a remake of it. We do. I mean, Capcom has become so beloved with them putting out, these 2 Resident Evil remakes, and hopefully more coming, that are just the definition for how you do a remake, not just a remaster, but a remake correctly. And Konami could go a long way towards getting back in the good graces of players by remaking some of those Metal Gear games. You don't need to do Metal Gear Solid 6 without Kojima. You've got the games there. Just make them a lot prettier, change the way the controls are, give them the Metal Gear Solid 5 control scheme, give more enemies in there, change stuff around, but keep the story and the cutscenes exactly the same, and you've got my new favorite game of all time. So I don't know.
Which is already your favorite game of all time.
I know, but now it'll be 1 and 2. Well, I wouldn't do that, but it would probably be my new number 1, and then it would just take the place of the original.
Yeah.
Sean, what you got next?
I'll leave one for you. So I'm gonna go with I want to make sure I get the name right. Mega Man Anniversary Collection. There are, is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there 8 games in this?
Yes. This is the one that came out on PS4, right?
No, I'm thinking of the one on PS2.
Oh.
But maybe it's the same thing.
Well,
I'm
no,
looking at it.
Because actually, no, because.
Oh, yeah, here you go. So it's got Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the weird Mega Man, the Power Battle, and Mega Man 2, the Power Fighter, those weird games. But 6, well, Mega Man, the original, is a little hit or miss. But still, I mean, even 7 and 8 aren't without their merits. They're a little different, but I mean, Mega Man is just, it's a tried and true formula. It's almost impossible to screw it up. All these games, even the ones that aren't as good as the other ones, they're still good games. Yeah, so then there was the Mega Man Legacy Collection.
Legacy, okay.
On PS4, which I also have, but I think that only has, does it only have the Nintendo ones?
So but they split it up into 2, I think. It was 1 through 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, I think is how.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, the first one is 1 through 6. So I don't know. So 7 and 8, 7 was on Super Nintendo, 8 was on PlayStation. I don't know if 9 and 10 were PS2 or were they just PlayStation?
No, that was Wii. That was when they went back to the old school.
Oh, those.
Yeah, where they made them with the flickering screens and all that stuff.
Oh, I forgot about that. I played 9. I never played 10.
I didn't play either of them, but I should. I mean, I've got the collection. I've just never. Well, actually, do I have both?
You have the second one?
I might just have the first one, actually. I think I've just got the first one. Well, crap.
Still, I mean, I'll take the Anniversary Collection just because it's got, I mean, 9 and 10. Well, 9 was good. I mean, you could tell again. It's a tried and true formula. It's impossible to screw up. They went back to their roots. I applaud them for it. Again, Capcom giving the people what they want. Konami can learn a thing or two from them. But really, I mean, there's 10 games. Say what you want about the power battle. I don't even know what those are. I don't even think I bothered playing them. But even if you just pretend they're not even there, 8 solid, like good to great games on one game. So yeah, that's definitely up there for me.
I cannot remember what the heck. I know I've heard of those Mega Man games, those Power Battle or whatever, but I cannot for the life of me think of what
It might
the
even
heck
be
they
like
are.
a fighting game. I don't know. Let me take a look. It's arcade. Okay, so they were an arcade game. Choose between 3 playable characters: Mega Man, Proto Man, and Bass.
Bat.
2 players can play. The game plays similarly to the main Mega Man games. The player uses 1 button to jump, 1 to fire.
Weird.
Instead of going through an entire stage and fighting the Robot Master as a boss, the player faces the Robot Master immediately in a fight reminiscent of Capcom Street Fighter series. So yeah, it's like a fight. It's like tournament fighters, basically. It's a crappy fighting game.
Did you ever try it? Do you remember?
I think I maybe fired it up.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, you had to like unlock them
or
something, or maybe you had to unlock the second one. I don't know. I feel like I did try it, and I'm like, nah, this is not Mega Man. And then that was it. I moved on. But
there's no point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, speaking of Capcom, the greatest fighting compilation ever created, arcade perfect on every game, even unfortunately the first one, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary. This game, Street Fighter, we talked about it a million times on here, but Street Fighter 2 dominated our childhoods like no other game. I wish there was time trackers on the Genesis to see how many hours we played Special Champion Edition and Super. And that wouldn't even count all the hours upon hours we played all Street Fighter games in the arcades or played it at friends' houses. Like hundreds of hours, I think I'm confident to say we spent on some version of Street Fighter 2. And to put, let me see if I can name them all. Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3. Yep, I'm going to get it. Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2. Oh, crap. What's it called? I mean, Street Fighter 3. Is it called Double Impact? And then Street Fighter.
Something like that.
Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. I know I got that one right. To put those 12 fighting games into one package, when it came out, it was $40. Now you can get it on sale for like $20, like on Amazon any day you want, maybe even digitally. I don't know. It's just one of the greatest compilations ever. And we had so much fun when we did our live stream back when we could actually like see people. When we did our live stream, when we played through every single game, and luckily we were tied 6-6 at the end of it, just like I hoped we would be. And then Sean beat me in overtime. There's just so much quality there. I got to figure out how to tighten this microphone. There's so much quality there. So many, like, I think though there's Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Super Turbo and maybe Alpha 3 are probably like 3 of my 5 favorite fighting games ever. Like I'd put Ultra Street Fighter 4 up there as well. Street Fighter 5 isn't as good as them. The Street Fighter 3 I never got into. Actually, maybe those are just my 4 favorite fighting games of all time. But I mean, you cannot get more bang for your buck. Like if you care about Street Fighter, sorry, I hit the arm. If you care about Street Fighter, you've got this collection already, I would assume. If you don't, you should. It's on PS4, Switch, Xbone. I don't know if it's on PC. But if you've got a console and you care about fighting games and you grew up not in the 90s, if you were a sentient age in the 90s and you loved going to the arcades and stuff, you have to get this. It's absolutely one of the best compilations ever made.
I can't argue that. You okay over there?
Yep, trying to, because it keeps, how do I twist off? don't want it to. All right, Sean, what's next?
All right, so my last one is a little bit of a I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I'm counting it, but it's not your typical compilation.
Okay.
As it is not a collection of games per se, but I loved it, and it brings me back to the Saturn, which is always good memories.
Huh.
Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Oh my God, that's a fantastic
Which was
call.
basically Ultimate Mortal Kombat plus I think like a few more people that Ultimate added onto 3. So I mean, it's not a compilation per se, but it's basically it's like every character from every Mortal Kombat game. Now they don't have every version of all of them. You don't get to play as like Mortal Kombat 1 Sonya and Mortal Kombat 3 Sonya, but it's basically a compilation in that you can just play as anybody from any Mortal Kombat game all in one. To me, it was the definitive. I know people love the way Mortal Kombat is today. But to me, this may be my favorite Mortal Kombat game. I think Mortal Kombat 3, even though it changed it up quite a bit, it finally added combos, which the game really needed. Because I don't think 2 didn't have combos yet, right?
No, it was still just uppercuts and roundhouse kicks. And,
right.
Yeah.
And to me, the Saturn version was, it was arcade perfect. I don't even know if Trilogy was ever an arcade game, but I mean,
no, it was
the Saturn version.
Yeah. Saturn.
Yeah, I mean, the Saturn version was basically arcade perfect of 3 and Ultimate, or I don't know, Ultimate was an arcade game, right?
Yeah, Ultimate was arcades. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you've got all the bosses. You can be Goro and Shao Kahn and Motaro and Kintaro and all them. And I think now I haven't played any of the new Mortal Kombat games. I haven't played any since the 3, like the 3 3D ones, like Armageddon, Deception, and
Vengeance or something.
Deadly Alliance. Is
Deadly
Armageddon?
Alliance.
Did I make Armageddon up?
No, that's one of them. I think that was 5.
Okay. But yeah, those were different. I didn't really care for them. But to me, this is probably, knowing that I've missed out on the latest Mortal Kombat, this is the best Mortal Kombat game ever, period.
Yeah, and that also reminded me, I completely forgot about it until you brought that up. Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection that came out on PS3 and 360 is Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, the separate games. But they're arcade perfect. That's what we used when we did Mortal Kombat 2 versus 3 way back in Versus a couple of years ago or whenever that was.
Really?
Yep. Because remember, it took us like a half hour to get the PS3 to actually work in Elgato.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to give a shout out to, now I've only played one of the games in there. I've got a couple others here. The Orange Box, which I still say to this day, I've got to get that for my PS3 just so I can play Half-Life 2. I'm putting this on the list just because I've heard how great Portal is, but I know how amazing Half-Life 2 is, and I'm never going to be able to play Alex apparently. But I know how great that is. And it also came with Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2. So it's the full Half-Life 2 story on there. And then you also had Team Fortress 2, which back in the day was pretty big when it comes to multiplayer, like deathmatch games and stuff. I think that was before Counter-Strike was out before that. Counter-Strike was out when I was in college. But I remember Team Fortress 2 being a big deal, but I would have never cared about it. But just that you can get one box that has Half-Life 2 and Portal in it is just, it's got to make the list. And it's one of those, I remember at one point they had it used at GameStop for like $15 and I should have just gone and got it and I didn't. And now who knows if GameStop is even going to exist when all this is done. I'm probably going to have to buy it on eBay for like $50-$60, which it's still worth it just to be able to play Half-Life 2. Although I hate using my PS3. Yeah, I had to give a shout out to the Orange Box as well.
Yeah, I definitely need to get around to playing Portal at some point. Like anytime you see any of these like the best video games of all time, Portal's like top 10 almost 100% of the time. Like it is always up there. It seems like it would be a lot of fun. I don't know. I don't know why. Basically because I just haven't been a PC gamer, that I kind of missed out on it, but I do need to play this game at some point.
I'm looking it up on GameStop now because I just need to know how much, if I can get it. Oh, wow. Pre-owned $20. Can I get it shipped? Free no hurry shipping. Oh my gosh. I could pick it up today at our GameStop. Holy crap. All right. Well, that's good to know. I'm not going to do that because they're not even open right now. It says order by 6 p.m. and pick it up today. It's freaking 9:52. Okay, but thank God. That makes me so happy that it's still kicking around. Okay. The other one I want to give a shout out to, I think they called it Return to Arkham. It's just 2 games, but it's 2 games that I absolutely adore, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. I mean, nobody thought you could make a good superhero game until the Arkham games came out. Not since the Batman 8-bit games were good. The Adventures of Batman and Robin, which we've had some requests to do that for Versus. Maybe we'll do that. On Super Nintendo and Genesis were great as well. Some of the Avengers games were fun. But I mean, they only worked back in the day. They were just beat 'em ups. There was nothing. It was just side-scrolling beat 'em ups, whether it's Avengers, whether it's X-Men, whatever. And then Arkham came around, and it was just like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe the voice acting that they got Kevin Conroy and they got Mark Hamill, and just the way it looked and the way it played. It was revolutionary. Spider-Man copied it. Spider-Man's probably a better game, though, so I'll be fair when I say that. But just 2 freaking fantastic games that I think when I bought them, when I got this on my PS4, I think it was on sale for $7.99 for Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. That's insane. Absolutely.
That's some high value right there.
And I still need to, because I played through Arkham Asylum last year. I want to go back to City as well. I keep saying, but between now and the podcast, I'm mentioning all these games I want to get back to and play. I'm like, oh my gosh, when am I going to have time? If I didn't have to work, if we were just stuck at home and they were like, we're just going to pay you for a month to stay home, we're shutting everything down, then I'd have a lot of fun. But oh well.
That would be fantastic. So another one that just popped into my head, we don't really need to spend much or any time talking about it because we've actually talked quite extensively about it just maybe a month ago. BioShock collection.
Oh yeah, I thought you would bring that up. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here, but is 2 games really a compilation? I tend to think of a compilation as like 3+.
Yeah. Well, then I will throw in whatever the other compilation is that also includes Arkham Knight, even though that game sucks.
What was that?
They did a new. It's not called Return to Arkham. Return to Arkham was those 2 I mentioned. It was called. Oh, let me see if I can find it.
There's one that included Knight.
Yeah.
I guess I thought it just. Huh.
Oh, it's just called Batman Arkham Collection.
Well, there you go.
$17.99. You get Knight, City, and Asylum.
Also, even though we may never get it, if we ever do, if we ever get a Prime, like give us 1, 2, and 3 in one compilation, like. That could be the best of all time, right? Well, I don't know. I wouldn't put it ahead of All-Star still, but that would be, I think, number 2.
Yeah, just everything I've heard about those games, and just to put them in widescreen HD, like, yeah, when I first heard about those games, I was like, Metroid can't work first person. This doesn't make any sense. How do you go into a roll ball? But every time I've heard you talk about it and other people, I'm like, yeah, I need that game to come out. And apparently that won't be coming out this year because we're just getting a bunch of Mario games, which I'm okay with. But
Right.
they've got to put out, before Prime 4 comes out, they've got to put out the Prime trilogy. And I will be all over that.
And they don't even need to touch them. Like, just port them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no just, and I know that alone is probably a lot of work, but it's not like these games aren't old enough to really need anything more than a fresh coat of paint. And they're good to go. Like, you don't need to rebuild them. They're fine. Just put them all together. Let us play them again.
Yep. Just pretty them up and release them. That's really all I want. I'll throw this out there for you Xbox fans. Master Chief Collection. I've only played Halo 1, but I mean, you put all 5 Halos plus now Reach is included as well. That's a crazy deal. So I'll throw that out there for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't at least mention that. But
I have no input on it because, like I said, all I did was play 1. But there you go. And then we did have those the Contra and Castlevania anniversary collections came out last year, along with the Konami arcade one.
That's true. Yeah.
And then
and then you got Symphony and Rondo.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Konami's done a little bit. I just want them to get into the remake business. Come on, just partner with Sony. Freaking partner with Xbox. I don't care. Just give me that damn game. I'll play it on the kids' Xbox. I won't let them play Overwatch or Rainbow Six for a month because I'm going to be stealing it. But
now, okay, let's say. Well, never mind.
No, go for it.
I don't know. You just got me thinking when you said Xbox. If somehow Metal Gear Solid 3 happened, the remake, but it was only on Xbox Series X, whatever they're calling it, you would have to get one, right?
Yeah, well, the good thing is the boys are already talking about pooling their money and saving up for one. So I'll let them buy it, and then I'll.
Do they realize how much it is?
I said, y'all know that's going to be $500, right? And they're like, yeah, we got birthdays and stuff. I'm like, well, okay, you better stop buying battle passes with all your money.
So they don't have any more birthdays between now and when it comes out.
That is correct. But yeah, or maybe they will if it gets delayed. Noah's in January and then Nick in March.
That's entirely possible. Yeah.
Oh well. I think that pretty much covers it. Those are our favorite video game compilations of all time. If you are watching this, I hope you're watching. We do these. We want you guys to watch them. I need to send out a message to all the patrons or something. Say, hey, go watch these. Don't forget they're there. But let us know what your favorite compilations are of all time. And let us know if we missed any that are super obvious and we just forgot about them. I don't know. But that's it for this episode. So, Sean, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.